what ways have our programs improved your business operations and streamlined your processes? You kind of answered this a little bit in that last one, but this kind of more, streamline.
What you bring to the table is my ability not to have to spend so much time on that and let you do your thing. When I say that, you have played the role of a consultant from a driver recruiting standpoint. You are another resource that ownership here trusts, and based on not only what you're telling us about industry standards and what other companies are doing, but also because of some of the things that you brought forward and that are working. So when you have ownership trust, that makes you a consultant by default.
Would you recommend our CMO consulting services? And how would you say my team and I have exceeded your expectations overall?
Yes, I would recommend. You've exceeded because of the marketing world, the web page building world, the newly everybody's remote, nobody wants to get on the phone and talk world. You have given us super personalized support. I don't know a lot of other people on your team, so maybe I'm getting a little extra handholding when it comes to what we need. I know you have a team behind you. Your turnaround is unbelievable when it needs to be, meaning if I need something overnight because of some pressure that I have on this end, you've made your team available for me. From that aspect alone, you get into some of these marketing companies and you're one of 100 and they're busy doing one. They won't drop anything, even if you think it's an emergency. The experience that I have with you is you're handling me how I would handle another customer.
What would you rate the success of the search engine optimization and branding services that we've done for you?
Here with your team, not only did we get what we paid for, but you also gave us ability to call you and say, we're really struggling with finding a certain type of employee in a certain area. And for you to take a week or two with a job description, target market, and actually have us have people apply outside of the normal Indeed, recruiter and all the stuff that we're on. It's like a personalized Indeed.
How would you rate that automated recruiter program where we've built that custom dedicated recruiter for you? I know we started with one, we've got two now. We've talked about potentially adding more in the future. That hasn't necessarily replaced your team, but it's without long-term contracts and things, it's given you a resource to pull to increase those numbers for the time being. What would you rate that program?
It's good. The reason why it's good is because for us to do the same thing here, number
Yeah.
one, we're drawing out of a very small pool in our region of the United States for recruiters. We do have a couple remotes, but
Yeah.
we prefer to have them in-house just because of what some of the things that we went through COVID. For us to spin up two more recruiters, have you train them and keep them up to speed, and for you to get them to a point where when they do get a lead or an application, they can hand it off here to our processor and they can literally move on to the next part. You're providing the supervision for these two people, and if something tweaks, I speak to you as we meet once a week. You let them know, and something's working, something's not. They've got feedback for us too as well.
Yeah.
Drivers are saying no always because of this one thing. Can we say something different? Can we tweak something? That has been helpful. I know for a while we had them on chat room, whatever you would call the
Yes.
Skype for immediate feedback. And that was
Yeah.
a huge help for them having resources to the actual people that could answer the questions immediately so that we didn't lose the potential driver. So it's been good. It's been a good experience.
So what would you say your success story or a positive outcome directly resulting from our programs in general when, for example, filling trucks faster, maybe our recommendations on the updates on programs or your processes or minimums or locations, even to even the dedicated recruiter program, SEO services, when ranking well, and then the, truck driver lead machine, all those together, I would say all those together, what would you say your success story and positive outcome as a whole would be for you?
The services that you provided, I'm going to say well, but to me as the main point of contact, have given us the ability to not expect less because we've had less people. Ownership is very adamant about just because we have less people here that we're going to do anything less. Drivers for customers, expectations are really high. I can tell you that if I did not have your company and your services, that I would have to hire a couple of people and hopefully find somebody that's experienced enough in marketing and then get them up to speed on trucking. The
Yeah.
success that you bring is that this is a trucking company that does cold storage warehousing. Not only did you bring the experience in the trucking transportation industry, but you very quickly took the same tools and gave us a heads up or a foot up in the warehouse report. It's not easy to be so streamlined and expect the same type of results from marketing money, but we're getting it.
How have our programs and consulting facilitated better collaboration or communication within your own team and organization?
The multiple services you provide to us, the biggest impact one is still recruiting, advertising to potential drivers, right? So communication wise, we do other things here that were in place before we went on board with you.
Right.
Like our podcast, our social media posts, which we still do. Your ability to use them and connect them all has been something that we wouldn't have been able to do or wouldn't have had the know-how to do. Communication wise, we are spread out because of ICs and company drivers. We have our IC onboarding in Oklahoma and around there. And the rest of the company drivers are here out of De Pere, Wisconsin. So you wouldn't think that in a lot of cases because of the way that we go about this, having another go-to person when we are having a challenge, because there are communication challenges. In fact, one of your suggestions was we used to have our recruiters also process. We made the move to make one of the recruiters a processor only, which has helped tremendously.
Truck driver lead machine build on social media platforms, search engine optimization, the SEO services, CMO consulting, and the dedicated recruiter program. You would highly recommend these to others, or are there any of them that you would not?
I would recommend them all to others.